Hey friends, Pastor Terry here. We are Okotoks Alliance Church. These are Thursday thoughts. Moving towards Sunday, getting things in order. I had an interesting experience yesterday. Some of you may recall that during a sermon in December, December? Maybe it was before that. I made a passing comment that King David did not seem to finish his life very well. If you are familiar with his story. One of the things that I also observed was that he was writing, he seems to have written the majority of his music, maybe the vast majority, maybe even all of his music when he was younger. When you go through the Psalms and you hear the themes that he talks about, there are a couple of exceptions that I can think of, but anyway, the comment was, I was taking it as a personal challenge that I need to get back to writing a bit of music, just as a personal spiritual discipline to try to keep my relationship with Jesus fresh and finding new ways to articulate that and through music to say something about it. I actually, the next Sunday, the next day, on Monday, I was at home studying and started with some ideas and pulled my guitar out and relatively quickly kind of put together a song that was based on the idea that we were looking at in our First John series, where John calls us back to loving Christ as he has loved us, which connects to the words of Jesus in the Gospels, the Gospel of John, where he says, a new commandment I give to you, love one another as I have loved you. And we've connected that to the greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself, which is a summary of the 10. And all of this is kind of cycling together into when I love you and Christ is in you, I am loving God, greatest commandment, and I'm loving my neighbor, I'm loving you, and I'm obeying, in all of this, I'm obeying Jesus, who said, to his disciples said, love one another as I have loved you. Anyway, the song takes a run at that idea. Well, I was in the studio yesterday, did a session back in December, was in the studio yesterday laying down a guitar track, and hope to do vocals in a couple of weeks. And so anyway, I'm going to have a gift for you that will be this song that is based on some things that we've been studying together, and I hope will bless you. I hope it'll be maybe a reminder of things that we have been studying. The song's called Lovely, and hopefully that's a good thing for you. And it kind of relates to where we're going this Sunday. We've started into a series in 1 Timothy. In particular, we want to be intentional about being followers of Jesus who are being mentored by other followers of Jesus, more mature followers of Jesus. And Paul has done this for Timothy and Titus and others. We have letters that he wrote to Titus and to Timothy that help us get a bit of a sense of what did that mentoring, what did that coaching look like. And we want to be those who are being mentored, and so we have the privilege here of being mentored by the Apostle Paul as we work through this letter that he wrote to Timothy. We're going to try to understand it better. We're going to try to learn from it, but then we get to be mentorees of Paul, even as Timothy was a mentoree of Paul. And it's really quite a remarkable thing that God has put in place in the church, where then he invites you, as you have grown, as you grow in maturity with Christ, to have a Timothy in your life, someone that you are investing in, that you're coaching. Maybe it's one of your children, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's someone's in your home, maybe it's someone not like that. But the encouragement is that we are growing such that we are investing in others, that we are disciples who are making disciples. Even as we are being discipled, we are discipling others, helping others walk and grow in their relationship with Jesus. We are getting kind of into the beginnings of the meat of this. This week we'll be in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verses 3 through 17, where Paul articulates the purpose for his writing. He has grave concerns for the church in Ephesus. It's interesting to me, I think it's actually quite exciting to me, that we have been growing a relationship with this church in Ephesus. We've spent some time with them, roughly 90 AD in the writings of the Apostle John, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. Here we are, the church had existed for about 40 years at that point. We can go back to the book of Acts and we can recount how did that take place, what did that look like, and then jump forward just a few years to the letter that he wrote to the church at Ephesus. We call it the book of Ephesians. And just a couple of years later, from that, about AD 64, we have this letter that he's written to Timothy. We'll talk a bit more about this. I'm convinced that it's more than just a personal letter to Timothy. I'm convinced that part of this was a letter to Timothy authenticating his ministry among the Ephesian, in the Ephesian church. Here he says, I left you, verse 3, 1 Timothy chapter 1, when I left for Macedonia, I urged you to stay there in Ephesus and stop those whose teaching is contrary to the truth. Don't let them waste their time in endless discussion of myths and spiritual pedigrees. These things only lead to meaningless speculations which don't help people live a life of faith in God. Verse 5 is kind of where I'll camp. He says, the purpose of my instruction is that all believers will be filled with love that comes from a pure heart, a clear conscience, and genuine faith. The purpose of my instruction is that all believers will be filled with love. And here we are back to love one another as I have loved you. A new commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. We better understand this word love and then put some vigilance into living this out. Paul's going to say some corrective things in this letter to Timothy. He's going to bring some instruction. There are certain things that need to happen. They need to function in this way. What's the goal? The goal is love. Through love, through not just a warm, fuzzy feeling, but through genuinely desiring the best for someone. Comes through a pure heart, a clear conscience, genuine faith. So this is what I long for you. I hope you can be with us on Sunday. We will go live, or the live stream will start at 9:50 a.m. Mountain Time. And then at 10 o'clock, we will be in person. You're welcome among us in person. There's lots of space. We have the HVAC system running, and the ultraviolet lights go up between uses of the sanctuary. Things like this, just to try to increase the safety of the air, the safety of the space. But if you're not comfortable with that, that's just fine. Join us online, Facebook, YouTube, website, and worship with us. Make the choice to just seek Jesus with us. And I pray that he would meet with you, he would meet with us, he would teach us, he'd receive the worship that we bring, and that as we gather around the Lord's table together, he would feed us. We would encounter him. So that's my prayer for us. I hope you can be with us this coming Sunday, one way or the other. Kids Zone is open, and we would be delighted to have you and your family with us. I'm Pastor Terry Lee. We are Okotoks Alliance Church, and these have been Thursday Thoughts. Bless you. Bye for now.